Okay, so I start. Okay, so welcome for this new career talk. Thank you very much to John, to MAJIMBO to be here with us today and to talk about their experiences in France. You are studying in France. You are from the Technical University of Kenya, and you are doing like an academic exchange in France. So we are looking forward to hear your story, to share like your experience about the studies, the life in France, how you succeed to come here, the relationship with Campus France, and a lot of topics that we will now start to talk about. And I think that this webinar will be really interesting and helpful for a lot of students who maybe would like to apply to an exchange in France. So to start, I will just let you introduce yourself first.
Okay, I will start. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mr. MAJIMBO Anyangu Mukhutsi, fourth year student at the Technical University of Kenya. Actually, currently, I am awaiting my graduation. Also, I am a student on exchange at the University of Technology of Tarbes in Tarbes here in France, pursuing a master's exchange program in embedded systems, or what we can call integrated system design. And I am very happy to be with you today to share my story. And I thank everybody for making their time to come and listen to our interesting story. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, MAJIMBO. My name is John Munene, and I was doing a diploma in civil engineering at Technical University. We were both accepted at the University of Technology of Tarbes. Myself, I'm doing an exchange in building and public works, a civil engineering option. And yes, we can't wait to share this whole new experience in France. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this introduction. So I would like to start with the first question. What motivated you to study in France, and how did you choose your program? Maybe MAJIMBO, you can answer to this one. Then we can ask another question to John, and John, you can complete the answer to MAJIMBO. We can do like a conversation, you know. It will be easier.
Okay, thank you. Maybe could you please repeat your question?
Of course, I can repeat. So the question is, what motivated you to study in France, and how did you choose your program?
Okay, thank you for a very wonderful question. It's a question that most people ask me. And for me, I started studying French in 2016 in high school. And fortunately, I became passionate about the French language. I remember very well during the holidays, I would always search online for cities in France and how life is in France. And I really enjoyed it. And that is how that is how my passion grew over and over. And that's why today, by the grace of the Lord, I am in France and taking my exchange program, and it is taught in French. For the selection of this program, the Technical University of Kenya has partnership with different universities globally, and among them, the University of Technology of Tarbes is, and among them is the University of Technology of Tarbes. And because of this partnership, these universities do have exchange programs to enhance their collaboration. Therefore, the University of Technology of Tarbes send a call for nomination, and in their in their letter, there were several courses, but for me, I selected the integrated system design option because at Technical University of Kenya, I've been doing Bachelor of Technology in Electrical and Electronic Engineering. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Majimbo. John, would you like to add something? Yeah, you can.
Oh, yes.
Anyway.
Yes. Personally, for myself, I hadn't been studying French for such a long time. I started learning French in 2022, just a year later after I joined TUC. It's there where we have the French club. I started learning French via the French club, and at the Technical University, we receive language assistance, and through them, I was able to learn French. And later on, early this year around March, there was the partnership came up via the Deputy Vice Chancellor, who is the institutional coordinator, and we have the she's the academic team leader at Technical University, Dr. Teresa Atieno. She's the one who actually made it known to the students, and we all were interested, and we applied, and we got accepted. So it was quite a rough patch if we are to explain into details, but finally we were able to arrive in France at the school. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. And you highlight really important things. It's the role of the teachers, like Dr. Teresa Atieno, who is with us today, who are promoting these kind of programs, who are talking to the students, and they are creating this kind of journeys as well, because they are talking to you, advising you, sometimes writing emails to the embassy to have informations, to ask for Campus France to come. So yeah, the role of the teachers are really important. And I wanted to thank all the teachers today who are attended, because you are supporting the students in their journey. Okay, I would like now to ask, so how was the application process? I don't want you to explain all the application process with all the documents needed. Otherwise, I think we are here until like 8 a.m. tomorrow. But how was the application process, and what support did you receive from your home? Wait, I will just mute the. I will just ask to everyone to mute the microphone.
Acha niende hivi, nitarudi masaa za wachawi.
Okay, sorry. My question was, how was the application process, and what support did you receive from your home and host universities?
For me, I felt like the application was a bit difficult. During the process, I was a bit tense because during the time of application, we did not have the DELF certificates, which had been requested, despite the fact that we've been practicing French and we have the level, but we only lack the certificate. Therefore, we thought that this could make them actually turn down our application. But fortunately, it was accepted, and the application was done through the office of the Vice Chancellor, who nominated us, the students, and the University of Technology of Tarbes accepted the nominated students, and that is how the application process was. I would like to thank Dr. Teresa, because I remember the final day when you were submitting all our documents. She was always there, guiding us, telling us of, reminding us of the key things that we need to put in consideration when sending these documents to University of Technology of Tarbes. Thank you.
Okay, to answer to your question, maybe I could try and break it down into steps about what happened, because obviously it came up from the Deputy Vice Chancellor, because he's the person who made it possible for us to have this program. Then it was handed over to Dr. Teresa, who then did the nominations as per the French students and those who are capable. So it was quite it was not as difficult, but I think French as a language should be promoted so much for students to have this program. Then after we sent our documents to UTOP, our result slip, that means we all had to have our documents in order. After acceptance by UTOP, we had to go through the procedure at Campus France. Also, it wasn't quite hectic because I like the system put by Campus France. Every step is explained. After having our Campus France certificate, we now had to apply for the visa. And again, if we all had our documents in order, of which we had, we were able to get our visas. And from there, it was now our journey to arrive in France. Thank you.
Thank you very much for these comments. I think that everyone should know that when you apply to an exchange, to go to a university, to travel, not only in France, you have to be patient, and you have also to like don't give up, to listen to your teachers, to respect the deadlines. It's a job. It's a part-time job to apply to a university or to go abroad. So yeah, I know that it's a hard process, and I think that everyone who is applying for something, the teaching assistant program, the exchange program to a university with Campus France, you should know that it's a long process and it's administration, like it's documents that you have to fill, and you have to be serious, because if something is missing, then it's delayed, and it's a lot of stress. Like you use the right word, Majimbo. It's stressful sometimes. So yeah, it's important to highlight these points. And you talked about Campus France. So can you just maybe explain in a few words what is the role of Campus France and how Campus France assisted you with, for example, the visa or with the integration in France? So yeah, if you can just talk about Campus France, it will be great. And just to finish, I will put the email of my colleague who is like the manager of Campus France in Kenya, Alexandre Regina. I will like write his email on the chat if some of you want to reach out.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I believe the role of Campus France in this journey was to ensure that our journey is successful. And for me, I can say after acceptance, I did not have a passport. And the first office that I thought of was Campus France when I started, when I applied for my passport. And unfortunately, in Kenya, passports can take even 2 years. It can take 1 year. So after realizing that, the first thing I thought of was Campus France. I went, talked to the manager, and explained to him about my situation. And he wrote a letter, which I took to the Department of Immigration at Nyayo House. And fortunately, my passport was expedited. And that's how I was able to get a passport in less than 2 weeks. Another role of Campus France, I believe, was to guide us and to advise us on what we are going to expect, what documents are we going to need for the visa application, and also to ensure that we are going to have a very comfortable stay here in France. Because before we departed Kenya, Campus France organized events that was basically to explain to us what to do immediately we get to France. It also helped us to know the approximate budget that we required. It also told us what we were going to pay. For example, we have the money for the civic, we have the purchasing of a new line here in France, and also booking of our airline tickets, booking of train tickets. All those things we were made aware by the Campus France team, and therefore their role was very critical in this process.
Yeah, maybe I can also add on the accommodation. For example, fortunately for us, we are able to get accommodation, but we also had other students we were with that they were not able to find accommodations, and Campus France did the magic and they were able to get their accommodation. Everything concerning accommodation, that means also the housing guarantor, that also we took part in that for our cruise, because to finish the online file, to complete it, we had to get our housing guarantors, and we were able to do it via Campus France. And another way I would say is also okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And also about, I liked how Campus France, they try to get information, your educational background, what you want to do in France and what you're planning to do in the future, because that way, that means there is a system following you and you're always on your toes. Yeah, thank you.
And maybe to add something small, for Campus France, whenever, most of the time, sometimes your visa can take, you can have issues with the visa application. So basically, Campus will help you to solve all your issues. Maybe during your application of the visa application, you forgot to attach the letter for proof of accommodation. And when you go to apply for the visa, the embassy tells you we need this letter. So, and maybe the deadline for the application, because it takes 14 days and the school is opening maybe in the next also 14 days, and you need more time to process the letter of accommodation. Actually, Campus can help you to be able to sort out such issues and be able to get your visa.
Thank you very much for all these details. Yeah, oh, wait, I will mute the... yeah, so yeah, Campus France is here to answer your questions, to try to find solutions when there's problems. They can't like find solutions all the time, because sometimes it's also you as an adult who are supposed to find a solution, of course, because we can't say that they will find solution for everything, unfortunately. But they are, yeah, here to support you in France. You are not alone. You're not sending like, then if you have a problem, you can't ask. If you have a problem with accommodation, they are here. They are trying to help, at least all the time. They are always trying to help. I'm working with Alexandre, who is the manager of Campus France here. And trust me, he's always trying to find a solution for the students, because we know that sometimes it's the first experience abroad. Sometimes it's the first time that you are going abroad and you need some help. So yeah. So now, what was like your first impression, when you arrived in France?
For me, it is this is a very interesting question. But for me, when immediately I go to France, actually I was under pressure, yeah, to catch my train. So my plan was to land at Toulouse. It was planned to Toulouse at 10 a.m. And unfortunately, due to some reasons, the pilot took a go around, and I had already booked my train at 12. So immediately the pilot took a go around. For me, I was very tense because I knew definitely you will miss your train. So the moment I landed, I immediately cleared with the immigration, took my luggage, and searched for the and searched my and tried to find my way to the train station. So lucky enough for us, we had a French national who has been helping us. So she advised me on the vehicle to take so that I can get to the train station. So I immediately searched for the bus, which took me to the train station. When I arrived at the train station, uh, I was only left with like 5 minutes or 3 minutes before the train leaves. I had 3 luggages and I was alone. So I'm searching for where will I board this train. I'm trying to search, I don't find. I ask people, and unfortunately they give me direction, but I'm unable to find exactly where I need to go. So it was very tense, but fortunately I managed to find my way and enter the train. Immediately, I was the last passenger. Immediately I entered, the train left. And I believe that was how I entered. I entered, that was how I was welcomed here in France. So uh, in the train, I could see like the infrastructure is well developed, because even the train itself, this was an improvement from what I'm used to in Kenya. And people are organized. Yeah, that was how those were my few hours in France. Thank you.
Well, I would also say the same thing about the train, because always the train, I don't know, it's so congested, sometimes you don't know which direction is leading where. But unfortunately for me, I had almost a full day to catch my train after landing. So I was able to navigate and find my way to the train station. And also, I would like to repeat about the language assistant. She was a language assistant at TUK 2 years ago. So we informed her that we'll be coming to France. And for me, I was fortunate enough that she was free that time. And she came at the train station and she picks me and took me direct to my university. So another thing is, when I arrived in France, everything is so different. Everything is moving faster pace than what we are used to. And yeah, slowly by slowly, we've been adjusting to the new culture, new environment, new people, new neighbors, everything, new modes of study. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and just to like ask another question, like related to what you said, what challenges did you face in adapting to French culture? Because it's different, and so I would like to ask these questions. And what about the language barrier? Can you tell me about the cultural shock and also the language barrier? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. For me, while in Kenya, I thought I'm good at French. Even when I talk to my friends, my colleagues, club members, I always thought I'm the best. I'm like, I'm the one. I'm the only one. When I arrived in France, the first thing, leave alone speaking, I could not hear what was being said. So I will just hear something has been said, but could not understand. So I was wondering, is there a difference between the French in Kenya and the French in France? So it was very difficult. You listen very keenly, but you understand nothing. So I believe that was the biggest challenge immediately I arrived in France. And I remember very for me, fortunately, I came as an exchange student, and in my class, we have students who speak English and have also gone to exchange programs. They do understand these challenges, so they will always try to explain to me in English, maybe talk to me in slowly, because the French do speak French very fast. So they will talk slowly. And also for the teachers, fortunately, for the lecturers, fortunately, they understood these students who do not speak fluent French. So always in class, they will always ask, "Have you understood?" And I will say, "Now, please go a bit slow. Go a bit slow. I'm understanding, but go a bit slow." And sometimes, if they see if we are unable to understand, they will try their best and speak English. That was the advantage that we had over the French language barrier. And I believe that was the greatest challenge, because in terms of food, fortunately, I managed to carry a lot of food from Kenya, so I could not feel the effects immediately, because here in the cruise residence, they have got a very wonderful kitchen. You can just prepare your meals very comfortably. So that one was very okay for me. Another thing.
Excuse me, Majimbo, just a quick question. Can you explain in just a few words, because we don't have like a lot of time, what is the cruise residence? Because I think no one knows except John and myself.
Okay, thank you. I will say the cruise residence is a very wonderful residence, because actually, when I entered my room, I thought like John, because John is the one who picked me at the train station, I thought like John was joking, because I couldn't believe that such a wonderful room, self-contained, could be allocated to a student. So I will say the rooms are very wonderful. They are self-contained. They have kitchen. They have the washing area. They have bathroom. So it's a room that is very comfortable to live in, and you will enjoy life. That's what I can say about the cruise residence.
Thank you. John, do you want to talk about your cultural shock and language barrier?
Oh, yes. Yeah, about the cruise, first of all, the cruise is a student residence in France. Is just like in Kenya, we have student hostels. So it's the same thing in France. It's a student accommodation. The culture shocks, I have had quite several. And one that I had some time back is vehicles move on the opposite direction opposed to Kenya. So I was on a bike and I found myself riding the bike in the opposite direction as the vehicle. So that was quite risky, funny but risky. Also, another thing is punctuality. I will say the French are very punctual. I will say that more than Kenyans. Then food is not as spicy, so I had to adjust. For me, fortunately, MAJIMBO was lucky. I had to inform him. I tell me, when you arrive, food is not as spicy. Huh? So that's another thing. Then, of course, the weather is totally different. The time it's shorter shorter nights. We don't really have these things. It gets really cold at times and really hot. So I would say, apart from the language barrier, because yeah, it's true, the French really speak very fast. Yeah, those I would say they are the culture shocks or cultural differences that I find so far. Yeah.
Just
Thank
a minute.
Yes, Majimbo.
In fact, John told me that when they arrived at cruise with OD, the language assistant, the person who was welcoming him at the cruise will talk, then OD will translate, then Nesh will understand. Thank you.
And I don't know if you noticed, but in the south of France, we have expressions that in Paris they don't use. Like it depends also on the part of France you are, because the accent is sometimes different, the vocabulary is sometimes different. So that's also funny. I'm from Toulouse, so just next to Tarbes. So I know that sometimes we use like different words and that in Paris sometimes they don't understand because it's our own vocabulary to say something. So this is, I think, hard when you don't speak French to understand the specificity of the language. So
Yeah,
Anna,
that is it's quite true. I've realized the different regions in France, they do things differently. Also, the same thing with schooling. Something I found so different because I've realized, for example, at UTOP, in most of our classes, we'll find most courses that we study, they are aeronautical engineering related things dealing with planes and all that, because I'm made aware that in the south of France, usually students do this as a major, study things about planes and everything. That's why it's always like that schooling in France. So I believe all other regions also have their thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. And there maybe you noticed the difference between like the Kenyan system, like university system and French system. Can you give me some examples?
Okay, the first difference, it is in terms of grading. First of all, here, in terms of grading, they don't talk about a certain unit. They talk about, I believe it is a certain group whereby the grades are in terms of ECT, while in Kenya, the grades are in terms of letters like A, B, C, and D. And also another thing I noted about the education, the grading system. Okay, another thing I noted about the education system is that the courses, there are certain courses that you can do that you will never do an exam, but you will have the marks for that course. That one, you will just be doing exercises in class, actually like the way we used to do in primary, whereby teacher gives assignments, you do the assignment, answer questions in class, participate in group discussions, and just like that, you get marks. But in other courses, we don't have exams, but we have. It is like a cut. It is more like a cut, which has a duration of like 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes, and that is used to grade or to determine the grade that you will get at the end of the semester. Also, the courses, the units that you are doing, there are very many, because in Kenya, I believe the maximum we could do for our class was like 8 units or 8 courses. But here, I'm seeing we can even surpass 15. I don't know if we are headed to 20. And then, so I will allow my friend John to add something, then I can add something after he talks.
Yeah, about the educational system, one thing that I would maybe try to impose in the Kenyan system is that in France, every French student is mandated to do an exchange abroad. So every student has to do at UTOP, every student has to do an exchange abroad, and that semester will be validated and it will count. For their final grade for their diploma. Then something else I would also say is different is the mode of testing students. It's more practical. Work in France is more practical. You really try to interact with the actual world, with the actual job market. And also classes are more technological. We use more of softwares. We are having more of practical works in the workshops. Also, something else is that every French student at UTOP for them to graduate, they must attain a B2 level in English. So I think that's why we are having quite a number of students in the school who can explain themselves in pure English. Something else I think Majimbo has already talked about. So yeah, those are the major differences I will say.
And then another thing is that they encourage working in groups because for project is done as a group. For example, I do integrated system design. So the project is not for MAJIMBO. The project is for integrated systems design. So that one is a very big difference with the Kenyan system. Another thing is that for the project, in Kenya, the student looks for the project or for the topic or the subject that his project will major on. But here, the lecturer gives you like a certain number of topics, like 6 topics of the current trends in your area of specialization, like integrated systems. So the teacher gives you a number of topics. Then you as the group, as integrated system design students, you are going to select one subject that you will focus on. And also projects are divided into 2. We have a tutorial project and the option project. For tutorial projects is to enhance, is to enable students to speak English because it is purely done in English. Even the presentation is done in English. And the option project is majorly done in French. And for it, it is considered for the option, just as I've said, for if it is integrated systems, the integrated system design students are the ones who are taking that project. And then finally, when it comes to examinations, in Kenya, sometimes they do say maybe your sitting position in the exam room might determine your final marks. In France, the sitting position, nobody knows. The sitting position is actually, the sitting position is indicated the moment you enter the exam room. You will see your name is indicated. You are going to sit under the seat number 6. So you go to seat number 6. And another thing, in the examination room, we have some courses which you are allowed to enter with the documents like books, handouts, and all that. And in other examinations, you are not allowed to enter with those documents. So it always depends. It is which examination and what has been specified as the requirement for that examination. Thank you.
Thank you, Majimbo, for these details. I just wanted to add something more. In France, the bachelor is 3 years. In Kenya, the bachelor is 4 years, if I'm correct. So it's also a difference in the curriculum. So now I will ask John about the finances. Like, what is the cost of living in France, and how do you manage your finances as a student, and if you have some advices?
Yeah, about finances, living abroad or doing something abroad really you really need some financial awareness. And for example, in Tarbes, it's not an expensive city, it's not very expensive. So I don't know, probably you want that I break down the living expenses?
Quickly maybe, and also to see if you have like a scholarship, for example, or something else, but
Okay.
quickly about the expensive for
The expenses.
to respect the time. Yeah.
Okay. About the expenses for the rent is around 300 euros. Usually I think for students it's around 300. Also those living outside the residence is around 300. And food, there is this thing also, something else I like about living in France is the secours populaire. We never have such a thing. And for 3 euros, but only students can benefit. For 3 euros, you can have foodstuffs that can last you for 1 week. Also, for the transport, the transport counts so much. 1 euro for every trip you make, or you can take a subscription, 15 euros per month or 50 euros per year. But this subscription changes depending on the city that you are living in. For the SIM card subscription, we have different offers, different people.
Sorry, John, I think you have to turn on your microphone again.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, so I was talking about the SIM card subscriptions we have for 11 euros, 10 euros, depending on the amount you want and the amount of internet or your internet consumption. And yeah, I think those are the major things that somebody can't live without in France. Your transport, accommodation, and your provision food. So probably around 380 euros, 400 euros per month in Tarbes. I think it changes. Yeah, it changes as you, because I believe in Paris, it's even more. Or
even
the
in the big
city.
city, in bigger cities, it's more expensive. But if you have the accommodation, then it's like something good because the rent is really high in France. But in Paris, for example, the transports are really they are not cheap, expensive. Yeah. And so did you have because I can see the question like a scholarship? I don't know if you answer, maybe no.
No, we don't have any scholarship. The thing about partnership is that we have been exempted from paying the school fees for the semester. So everything else is upon us, starting from the visa application to arriving in France, that's the plane ticket, for rent every month, living expenses, everything is upon us. Yeah.
Okay, maybe something to add on. First of all, for all those who have a dream to study in France, please do not consider expenses as the first obstacle, because to me, I believe that should not be the obstacle. And then another thing, I will say that I feel like it is very affordable to live in Tarbes. Especially also another thing maybe for us, you have an advantage. We are being hosted by the cruise, which is a student residence, so it's a bit affordable. And yeah, I believe that is all. So thank you.
No, it's a good point, Majimbo, because it's true that even for the teaching assistant program or all this kind of program, people are worried about the money, and they should, because money is important. You have to think about the finances and everything, but it's not the first obstacle. You're right, because you can like have this dream, you can plan, you can work before. And as you said, the cruise is really cheap. The meal are cheap. So yeah, but expenses, like it's the reality also of France, you know, sometimes it's expensive. It's way more expensive than in Kenya. So you have to think about it, but don't make it a big obstacle, you know, because sometimes people are like, no, it's too expensive, I can't go. Yeah, but maybe you have to look for information before and to see what is offering, like what Campus France is offering to you. Sometimes a cruise residence, sometimes like lot of different things. So I agree with you that it can be the first obstacle, but you have to think about it and to plan it before. Yeah, I agree. So now I would like to ask, how do you balance your studies with you know, your life in a foreign country, your daily life, and if you like had the opportunity to participate in any extracurricular activities, student organizations? So what is the life after the lessons, after university? Maybe John, you can start now. So
Okay.
we extend.
We can switch.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
switch.
we can switch. Okay. So, Tarbes being a smaller town, you can really get around all corners within few hours. So there is international club in the university, and they really help students. They really help international students. They organize. Now that you are closer to the mountains, the Pyrenées, we really go. We plan for hikes in the mountains. That's one good activity that I have seen. It's a really good way of refreshing yourself. And also we have music. We have music. MAJIMBO himself, he's participating in yoga. He's participating in yoga every Tuesdays, I believe. It's every Tuesdays. Friday, football. We go to play football with other members of the school. And also we have yeah, that's Friday football. We have tournaments organized by the school. Yeah. So there is really a lot to do outside of class. There's really a lot. There is also bikes. We're going to ride bikes. Yeah. Yeah. Also students make concerts. I see students really make concerts. They sell tickets. Right now they are preparing the gala for the final year students. So there are really many activities to do. Yeah.
For me, I will say that the timetable is very flexible because most of the time our classes from Monday to Wednesday, we have classes from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. But on Thursday and Friday, we usually do have classes till midday, which gives us enough time to do other activities like relaxing and doing some cleaning. And also, maybe in terms of the project that we are doing, for them, the projects have been allocated a lot of time. So I can say we do have enough time to do our other things apart from studying. As John has already told you, for me, I do take part in yoga. It is done every Tuesday from 7:45 p.m. to 8:45 p.m. And also on Saturdays, not every Saturday, but some Saturdays, we do have some, I can say there are cuts or exams, which only last for 2 hours or 1 hour. So in terms of balancing our studies and other activities, I can say we are really doing good in that sector. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for all this insights about the life in France and the university. And now I would like to ask you what advice, concrete advice would you give to students from Kenya who are considering like studying abroad, studying in France, most particularly? John, maybe you can start.
Yeah.
We switched.
Yeah, we switch. Yeah, so first I would say students really need to be financial aware. They really need to know spending in Kenya is not the same way as spending in France. You really need to adjust to the new system. Also, you need to be responsible now that you are away from family, from relatives, from friends. You're alone. Yeah, you have friends also who are in France or there's Campus France, but also you need to be responsible. Another thing for students who are wanting to study in France, they need not to be afraid to apply. That's the first step to remove the fear of applying. Then also they need to have their documents in order, not to rush the final day because application processes are usually hectic. And also students can do their DELF exams because I can see the DELF certificate. It's very important. Many people really ask for this certificate. And it's also a lesson for us now that we didn't have it. Now we really need to have it. Yeah, it's really important in France. And also to visit Campus France office oftenly. Yeah, that's something I really wish also myself I did oftenly because there's so much information in that small office people can get. Yeah.
For me, what I will say is that if you have a dream of coming to study in France, you should do a lot of research, so that you are able to know when I get to France, what are the possible challenges that I might face? What are the possible ways that I may be able to solve those challenges? And in that regards, I believe getting in contact with people who have already gone who have already studied here in France, or those who have come for ADL program, is very key. Then, as John has said, visit Campus France offices regularly and ask questions as you continue to do your research. Another thing I will say, master the French language, because when you get the opportunity to study in a region like Tarbes, where we are, actually within the school, you might have some people might be able to speak English, but the moment you get out of the university, most people do not understand English, and they don't speak the easy French that most Kenyans are used to. So master the French language, practice, and listen to various musics and films of the French themselves speaking, so that you can adapt to the accent as early as possible. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for these advices. I would like to add something. I think that it's important also to have a project, okay? To like, we are not asking you to know what you want to do later. It's a hard question, but to have an idea, because this exchange, like, I'm talking about the exchange right now, but also about the teaching assistant program and all the opportunity that you have to go to France are not the beginning, are not the end, sorry, of your career, of your experience. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of your career, of your life, of your lot of experiences that you will have. So you have to use this kind of experiences as a springboard for the future. And you have to think about how you will use these experiences as a springboard for your future job, even for your personal life, because you spent like 6 months or more sometimes in France. That's a huge asset for also your personal life. So my advice would be to think like about the future, not just about the present, think about after. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for also your advices that are really important, the finances and the process of inscription and everything, but the future is important for you because it's just the beginning of your career. One of my last questions, because then I would like to like allow people to ask a question in the chat or raise your hand, would be like to know how this experience impacted your, professional goals, even personal life, and what are your plans for the future?
Okay, I will start because we switched. Yeah. So the question is my future plans. Since I'm doing a project, I'm also doing a very interesting research project with the school. I would like to do an internship with my supervisor because it's really something that it's really the thing that I've been wanting to do, and I think an internship will be a good way to help me have more experience in my field. So I am really counting on doing an internship. And also, I would like to advance my studies, but that is to be seen for the future. But yes, really an internship first will be good because whatever I've started, I don't think till January I'll be able to fulfill the whole project. So I am able to ask for advice from my lecturers and supervisors, and that way I'm able to have more information of what to do next in my career, of which is the best road. They are guiding me on what I really like to do. So yes, I think that's the thing that I would want to do next.
For me, provided that I'm in the south of France, almost at the center of aviation, I now feel like my dream is coming to reality because aviation is something I considered impossible due to certain reasons. But now I believe doing this exchange program here in France, I am feeling like I will be able to accomplish my passion to enter into aviation. So I believe probably in the near future, I will get an opportunity to immerse myself in the aviation industry and continue with my professional growth in the aviation industry. Actually, I've already applied to certain jobs for the aviation industry, and yeah, that is my future when it comes to staying here in France. It's all about aviation. Thank you.
Thank you, Majimbo. We wish you the best. I can see your
Thank you.
smile. I can see how you're passionate about it. So we really wish you the best. And I'm really happy to see you like you're happy and you have ambitions and dreams. And I think you're making proud your teachers. Uh, so that's really nice. Thank you for sharing this experience, and you're also making proud the French embassy because we are supporting you and we are happy to see that you are serious students and you're thinking about the future, and you're taking time today to promote this exchange and how it's important to learn French to then have this kind of opportunity abroad. So thank you very much for your time. And now I would like to open this session to questions. If some of you in the chat want to write a question, or if you want to raise your hand in Zoom to ask a question to Majimbo and John, feel free to ask your question.
I can see from Mary from the chat. Do you also have opportunities of side hustling, such as probably teaching English to the French, or any petit boulot to boost your income? Normally, you are allowed to work a maximum of 20 hours per week, 20 hours, because also you need not to forget the objective that you came here for educational purposes. So I really think it's a good way to consider that you really need to get that balance between work and study, because you can't come and fail also in your education. So yes, I think it's possible. Personally, I work during the weekends on Saturdays and on Sunday in the afternoon. I have few hours to work in a restaurant just to boost my income. And yeah, it's possible to have. I've seen other students. They are also doing the English teaching to the French, and they still manage to do their studies. So I think it's possible so long as you don't exceed the maximum hours, and also you're able to find the work-study balance. Yes.
Thank you very much, John, for this answer. Majimbo, if you want to add something, you can, and if other people have questions, feel free to ask them.
Okay, just as John has said, a student visa allows you to work for a maximum of 20 hours. So that is it.
Thank you. That is a really good point and important information. I wanted to ask this question because I didn't know, but that's really important to raise this point that the student visa allows you to work for 20 hours maximum. So I can see that it's already 7, like, il est déjà 19h05. Je vais parler un peu en français.
Oui.
Mais je
Comme
parle,
ça, on parle tout.
promis, je parle lentement, je ne vais pas parler vite.
Parler.
Parce que sinon, je
On
vais
était
parler
déjà
vite.
terrorisés par les Français, donc déjà les profs.
On a déjà adapté.
I can say a question. Did you guys do the DELF examination to qualify to go to France? I think you answered already about the fact that you didn't have like your DELF.
Okay.
Yeah, for us, we didn't have the DELF exams, but the certificates. But I would say not having the DELF certificate just tells you that you really need to do so much for you to get the opportunity, because you need to convince this person that you can really do this thing in your class. You really need to do so much to convince.
And I think that it's in some universities, if you don't have the DELF exam, like
Yeah,
the B2 level, you will not be accepted. So it's not even a matter of you have a French level, good French level, you can convince them. No, sometimes
So
universities,
if you don't really have,
they will check all your documents, and if they don't sit the B2 exam, they will just, refuse your application. And it's fair because you need to like, if you're studying in French, you need to have the B2 level, because otherwise you will be completely lost, because French, I mean, it's a language. You have to speak a bit of French to understand all the classes. If of course that if you study in English, it's easier, it's your language, but in French you have to have this B2 level. So I will advise you to pass the DELF exam. And the DELF exam, it's a lifelong exam, so when you pass it, you have it for all your life. So it's worth it, I think, and it's a big proof that you can speak French. I can see yes, Majimbo.
Yes, maybe something to add. Okay, yeah, it is mandatory to have the French, the DELF certificates, but now for our case, unfortunately, it was quite unfortunate that at that time we did not have, but we did not consider it as an obstacle. Therefore, we used other certificates. Like for me, I used my KCSE certificate, which indicated I had already attained a B1 level. I used the certificate that have been the certificate for debate. I've participated in debates, certificates for French drama participation, and I believe that was what really counted in terms of DELF certificate on my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Léa?
Oui.
Bonsoir, je peux ajouter? Bonsoir à tous. Ouais, il y a une
Bonsoir.
chose qu'ils oublient. Oui, bonsoir, Majimbo et Munene. Il y a une chose qu'ils oublient. Ouais. I had to write the recommendation letter for you. Oui, ça a beaucoup compté aussi, une lettre de recommandation que j'ai écrit, j'ai fait pour les trois. Oui, à l'époque, il y avait Amos aussi qui va partir bientôt. Donc, ça a beaucoup compté aussi. Ouais.
Merci,
Donc, il
Teresa.
fallait
C'est vrai que
justifier, oui.
oui,
Oui.
merci, Teresa. La justification du professeur est aussi très importante dans le processus. Merci pour ce commentaire. Alors, j'ai une question d'Emmanuel. Is there a way of obtaining a scholarship in between the studies or at the beginning? Maybe I can answer to this question because Campus France offers some scholarship, but not a lot, to be honest. I will tell you the truth. We don't have a lot of scholarships. And it's for students, it's for people who are doing like a doctorat. I don't know how to say this in English.
PhD.
PhD, thank you, for PhD. But I will like advise you to think about going to France without because we really don't offer a lot. I don't want to promise you something that you will probably, I mean, you can try and everything, don't have because unfortunately we can't offer a lot of scholarships. So it will be my honest answer about this question. And Winfred is asking, how can I get access to the opportunities that French offers? Maybe I can also answer and then you can add something. So on the website of the embassy, you will have like a lot of information about the French assisting program, the teaching assistant program, sorry, Campus France. You can go to Campus France in Nairobi, or you can write to the email that I put in the chat to know about scholarships, to know more about Campus France. You can write to me about the teaching assistant program. We have podcast competitions. We have a lot of different competition where we offer DELF exams. Well, I mean, we offer the fact that we are paying for you to pass the DELF exam and to take the examination. We are not like offering you a DELF exam, like when you win, you are not B2. We can't do that, but we are trying to offer a lot of things. So you can like look on the website of the embassy or on Francophonie in Kenya, the WhatsApp group, because we are always organizing webinars, organizing a lot of things around French language, promote the language and the opportunities.
Yeah, also, I don't really find it very expensive studying in France as opposed, because in Kenya also we pay a lot. We pay a lot if you're studying privately, but just to have an estimate, you can go through Campus France and know how much you need to pay for the program you want to study and all that. That you'll know how much you need roughly for you to study in France. And also, I don't really find the school fees so high. They are not so high. So yes, I would also take the advice from you that you would really take the option of coming to France to pay for your fees rather than having the scholarship, because also it's not so much. Yes.
Okay, so in terms of the studying opportunities in France, I think one of the things that students should consider is the memorandum of understanding between the university and the universities in the universities abroad. For example, your university can be having a partnership with the university in France, but you might not be knowing. The moment you know about these partnerships, you can actually qualify as an exchange student, and I believe that is a very good place to begin from. And also on the question in terms of access to the opportunities that French offers, what I can say, as an individual, you need to do a lot of research, because the embassy offers a lot of opportunities. It shares a lot of opportunities, but there are other opportunities that I believe probably you will find on your own, because the embassy cannot capture everything. So doing research and also mastering the French language will really contribute to you.
Yeah, thank you, Majimbo. And don't hesitate to talk to each other, to meet people, when you're going to the Alliance Française in Nairobi, in Mombasa, in Eldoret, or to any kind of events, cultural events, or about languages, or talk to your teachers, it's also about meeting people and talking about opportunities, and it's also a good way to know what is possible to do, because people will share their experiences like we are doing right now, and ask your teachers, because they are here. Like, I'm working with the teacher here in Kenya, and I can tell you that they are really, really into it, and they have a high motivation to find opportunities for their students. So yeah, talk also to your teachers. Thank you very much. I think it's time to close this session. I would like to thank you, Majimbo and John, for the time that you gave us today. And I know that the hour changed in France, so now it's someone is, I don't know if someone is talking. No. So yeah, I would like to thank you a lot. It's really important what you are doing, because I think you answered a lot of questions that students sometimes are too shy to ask, because it's possible, to be shy and or you don't know who you can ask the question. And it's important that Kenyan people, you represent like the students, and it's important that the answers, like, that you gave the answer today, because you are Kenyan, you're not the French embassy, you're not Campus France, you are the one who are in France studying. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Have a nice evening. Bonne soirée. Je vais vous dire au revoir en français quand même.
Oui.
Bonne soirée, merci.
Au revoir. Merci à tous et à toutes.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.